Hi everyone, and welcome back to Stamp with Anna. As I mentioned in my video yesterday, this month the theme is going to be clothing sweaters, and every week I'll be having a different series. This first week is going to be ladies sweaters, next week is men's sweaters, the following week we'll be doing some fun aprons, and the last week we'll be doing some children's clothing. So this is the card we're going to be making today. And again, I mentioned in my first video yesterday that Stampin' Up! Does have a great embossing folder. It's one of the dynamic embossing folders, and it's called the Cable Knit. And it's a great embossing folder to make sweaters with, and I did post a few of those last year around Christmas time. We made this women's one. We made this men's cardigan. And I also made this half cardigan for a gift certificate. But this week, I'm going to show you how to make sweaters without using the cable knit. Yesterday, we made this one here, and I used the softly falling embossing folder. And I liked this one. It was an up-to-date modern sweater. So today, we're going to be making this one. It's a little more reserved, good for office attire. And it's really, really simple. And the background technique is a really cool technique. So the first thing we're going to do is bring in our card base, which is thick, very vanilla, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So we need to cut out the notch for the neckline, and for that I'm using this. Let's see. It's about one, little shy than 1.5 layer from the layering circles framelits. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the center point of the top of my card. This is 4 1/4, so the center point is 2 1/8. And then I'm going to position my framelit so that it's in the center. That little tick mark is in the center. And I'm going to run this through my Big Shot. Okay, hold on one sec. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've run that through. Now that I've run it through, I also need that to come out on the other side of my card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace that with the pencil. And then I'm going to line this back up with my framelit, and I'm going to run that through. Now, because this is thick very vanilla, I didn't want to run the risk of not getting a good clean cut if I did both pieces together. So I would rather take the time and do 2 pieces separately. So again, I trace that out, and I'm going to line this up and run it through my Big Shot. I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm back. I cut that through, and now I have my 2 scoop necks that line up perfectly. So the next thing we're going to do is do the same thing with our card base, our sweater, which is Pacific Point. So I have a piece of Pacific Point which is cut at the same size as the front of my card, which is 4 1/4 by 5.5. And again, I'm going to line these up this way. I'm going to line these up and make a pencil mark. And that's going to ensure that my cutout is going to fit perfectly. So again, I'm going to go run this through the Big Shot. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've cut that out, and now when I line this up here, my necklines are perfect. So now I have to make the pattern on this. And this is not an embossing folder. I did this myself, and I'm going to show you how. For this, you're going to need your simply your scoreboard, and it takes a bit because there are a lot of lines to be made. But what I did was I went through on every one of these lines, so that every 1/8 of an inch I made a score line, and then I did it on the side as well, so that it came out looking like little checkers. I did mine every 1/8 of an inch. You can do yours every 1/4 of an inch, every 1/2 an inch, whatever pattern you would like. So I'm going to get started on this, and I'm going to use the smaller tip. And my only tip here for you would be to take your time making your scores, because if you go down too fast, you run the risk of jumping the track, and then you have to start all over, unless you can get your score line out. So I'm going to finish doing this, and oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to do it here with you. This really is. It does take a bit of time, but I think it's a fun little technique. Okay, and there we are, all on one side. Now I'm going to turn this over and do the same on this side. So I'm making my little squares. Okay, so now I'm on the part that has the neck cut out, and I'm going to just go up to that part for now. Okay? You certainly could have done this all the way down and jumped over on this. I find that when I do that, I'm not entirely accurate. So what I'm going to do, because I know it's on every score line, I'm just going to come down here and go back up. See what I mean? I know my limitations. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it over, and there is my beautiful pattern. You could use it this way if you like, but I like to the side here. So now I'm going to attach that to my card base. Bring in my snail. You can certainly, like we did yesterday, use a different embossing folder, but I wanted this pattern because I wanted to make this office attire. Okay, so I'm going to line that up. Okay, and here we have it. I might give you another tip as well. After you've cut out your scoop neck for the cover piece, and you've seen that it fits, when you're doing your scoring, make sure that you're scoring on the right side of the paper. So if you took this and put it on here and it fit perfectly, but you wanted these grooves to be up, sticking up, when you go run it through your scoreboard, do it this way, because you know that you're going to turn this over to get your pattern, and you know that this lines up with that. That's in case you don't have a perfect your perfectly centered score. So what I'm saying is, if you measured this way and you cut this out, right? So now this is what you're going to this is going to be the front of yours. Tip it over when you do your scoring, so that when you're getting ready to attach this, you tip it over this way so that your score marks are coming up and you know for sure that it's going to align with that. Otherwise, you might be off just a tad. So that's the base of that. Now we need to make our decorations here. And this piece here is just a scrap piece of Marina Mist, and I'm going to do the same thing I did. I'm going to make a pencil mark. Now I'm going to go to the Big Shot, and I'm going to line that. Oops, I'm going to line that one there, and then with a larger circle, I'm going to come in as well position that how I want it, and run that through. And that way I will come up with this collar. Okay, I'm going to go do that. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have my piece that's cut out. See, this is what I ran through my machine. Okay, and when I take my framelits away, I have this. So now we need to make our score lines on this as well. So I'm going to bring this in. We're going to do the same thing we did with the other ones. Listen, there's a lot of scoring and it's time consuming, but I think the effect is just so cool. You need a little patience to do this one, but I find it's just harder to get it going, get the scoring going, if it's not butted up against the top there. So you might have a different way of doing it, an easier way of doing it. You certainly could use the your cutting board, but I think that would be even more tedious because you'd have to constantly be measuring to make sure you're at the right interval for your score lines. So I think I'll just do it this way. And the reason you have to cut your pieces out before you do your scoring is if you score it and then run it through your Big Shot, guess what? All your score marks are going to come off. Alright, so that's that piece there. Now for this piece here, we're going to just cut a piece of Marina Mist. I believe I did 1/2 inch. I was debating on 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch. 3/4 of an inch. Okay. We're going to bring this one in. And we're going to do the same thing. Oh. And then we're going to go sideways. And I'm going to have more than I need here because I didn't cut this down to size. I'm going to cut it after after I attach it. Okay, that should be plenty. Okay, so now let's bring this card in. Now, this is going to go right there, and this is going to go right here. I'm going to give you another tip though. Before you attach this here, we're going to make our pockets. And the reason being, if you are off a little and then you go put your pockets on, they might not show up even. So this is going to be really quick. We're going to bring our scoreboard in again, and we're going to score our pockets. Turn it around. This video must be terribly boring for you to just sit here watching me make all these score marks. And I do apologize for that, but I want you to see how I'm doing it. Okay, so those are done. And I'm happy to say that's the last of the scoring. So So now on the bottom here, I just want to round my corners. And for that, I'm using, this is a corner rounder that Stampin' Up! Used to have with the Project Life kit. And I think it's retired as well. It's discontinued, so you can, but you can use any, obviously, any kind of corner rounder. So again, a little bit of snail. And you can certainly leave your pocket open on the top if you want to put something on it, in it. Put one right there. And one right here. I'm going to position it so that it looks the same. Okay. And now I'm going to take this piece and center it between these two lines there. Okay, I'm going to trim this overhang off. And now I'm going to attach my collar. And that fits beautifully right there. Adhese it off. Now I have some buttons, and these are the gold metal buttons. They were on the clearance rack for a while. They might still be there, or they might still be current. I'm honestly not quite sure, but I should probably know that, but I don't. I know there are some buttons that are still available. I'll check that out. Okay, and I'm just going to put one up at the top, one here in the center, and I want to make sure my holes line up. You could certainly have taken, like I did on yesterday's card, taken some baker's twine or something and put string through there. I might take this off and change that up a little bit. I might not, depending on my mood when I go to use the card. Okay, so now the last thing we have to do is decorate our pockets. And for that, what I'm going to use is the Teeny Tiny Wishes. And I'm going to use this, where'd it go? Happy Birthday. And then I'm going to use the birthday banners, and I'm going to use this image there. And then from the coordinating bunch of banners, I'm going to cut the little banner out using this one here. Okay, so let me get some scrap. I'm going to use this little piece of scrap here. Pacific Point. Here's my block. I'm going to stamp this twice. And then I'm going to come in with the Happy Birthday. Just make sure I have that on straight. And I'm going to go in just one of these images here. All right. Now I'm going to go run this through my Big Shot. I'll be right back. Okay, and here are my little pieces. I'm going to put a little bit of snail on the back of them. This one is going to go over the right pocket. And this one is going to go over the left pocket. And there we have it. How cute is that? I think it's just a great little cardigan. It's getting to be, I know it still is the beginning of August, but here in New England, our weather changes so quickly. Before you know it, it'll be back to school time and the fall, and the leaves will be falling. So this is a great card to have this time of year. Anyway, if you have any questions at all about the project, or any of the products I used, certainly contact me through my blog, www.stampwithanna.blogspot.com, and I'll be happy to get back to you. If you, there is a tab on the top of the blog that says contact, and there's also a tab that says shop. So I hope you enjoyed this card. I hope you'll give it a try, and please come back tomorrow for yet another female sweater in the sweater month. Thanks. Bye-bye.